And we have discussed the enthalpy change, energy change. The difference in energy of the system and the surrounding is called enthalpy change. And in terms of enthalpy change, a reaction can be an exothermic, enthalpy change will be negative, and it can be an endothermic, enthalpy change will be positive. Then enthalpy change can be refers to formation when elements form a compound, we call formation. Combustion, when one mole of a fuel is burned, we call combustion. Enthalpy change of a reaction, if we are not able to categorize the reaction like combustion or formation, so we can also say it is neutralization. And the standard conditions 100,000 Pascal, 298 Kelvin, and solution should be 1 mole per dm. Enthalpy of atomization means energy needed to produce 1 mole of atom in the gaseous state. First and second ionization energy means energy required to remove electron. The first electron is called first ionization. To remove the second electron is known as second ionization. Affinity, energy released when electron is added. The first electron affinity is always exothermic, but the second one will be endothermic. The lattice energy refers to when ions in the gaseous state form a compound, we call that as lattice energy. An enthalpy change of neutralization. What is enthalpy change of neutralization? When 1 mole of a water is formed and acid is reacting with a base, we call that as enthalpy change of neutralization. Now, what is the Hess law? According to this Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path followed. The energy change does not depend on the route or the path of the chemical reaction. Example, we have a reaction in which A reacted with B and give a product C. So A is reacting with B and give a product C. But according to Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path followed. Example, first we were having A is converted into X by example heat, and then X is reacted with B and it results in a formation of C. Or A is directly added to B to give a result C. So when we check the overall energy change of the two routes, how we'll identify the routes? What is the start of the route? The start of the route where the arrows are pointing out. And what is the end of the route where the arrows are pointing in? So what is the start of the route? As you can see, A plus B, that is the start of the route. And where the two arrows are pointing out. Where the two arrows are pointing in, that is the end of the route. Now, there are two routes here. A plus B gives C, that is route 1 for a chemical reaction. And A first converted into X and X reacted with B to form C, so that is route 2. So according to Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route. Like example, when A reacted with B, it formed a product C, say the energy change was 100. But when A first changed into X and X reacted with B and formed C, so if this was example 30 joules, this will be 70 joules. So if our starting reactants and the final product is same, if we follow any route to form a product, the overall energy change does not depend on the route which we follow. It depends on the starting reagents and the final reagent. That is basically a Hess law, that which state that overall energy change is independent of the route or the path. So as you can see here, the energy diagram, this is energy diagram is given. Like you have hydrogen molecule reacted with chlorine molecule, it forms hydrogen chloride, HCl. Or first we produce two hydrogen atoms and then we produce two chloride atoms, and the two hydrogen atoms mix with two chloride atoms to form hydrogen chloride. That is route 2. So this is route 1 and this one is route 2. So according to the Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route. So H2 plus Cl2, where two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle, and where the two arrows are pointing in, that is the end of the cycle. So if this was say 60 joules, so when hydrogen and chlorine produce an atom, maybe that was 40, and when hydrogen and chlorine atom react to form hydrogen chloride, example, that is 20. So when we sum up the energy of the two routes, this will come out same. So what it shows? It shows that the overall energy change does not depend on the route or the path which we follow. It depends on the starting point and the ending point. Is it clear, the concept of the Hess law? Any doubt in this? So example, as you can see, H2 plus Cl2 gives 2HCl, or H2 plus Cl2 gives hydrogen and chlorine atom and form a product. So if you want to work out say we have calcium carbonate, it reacted with HCl, and as a result it will give calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. Or what happened first, the calcium carbonate decompose into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, and this calcium oxide and carbon dioxide mix with HCl, like we add HCl. So if I add HCl or if I react with HCl, what it result? It will result in a formation of calcium chloride, carbon dioxide and water. So when we check the overall energy change, first we have to identify the routes. So to identify the routes, we have to check what is the start and what is the end. So how we identify the start? The position where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle. Where two arrows are pointing in, that is the end of the cycle. So if I say energy change when calcium carbonate react with hydrochloric acid, then enthalpy change is A. When calcium carbonate decompose to form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, enthalpy change is B. And when calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide react with HCl, it will give calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. So that is C. So according to Hess law, the overall energy change of the route 1 will be same as the overall energy change of route 2. So what is route 1? When starting to ending position, so here we can say this is route 1. So we can say this is route 1. And what about route 2? This is route 2. So overall energy change of route 1 is same as route 2. So enthalpy change for route 1 is A, and enthalpy change for route 2, that is B plus C. So we can say A is equals to B plus C, and any unknown, like example, sometime one of the values unknown, so we can work out that unknown value. Is it clear, the concept of Hess law? Any doubt till this point? So we can use this Hess law to work out the energy change or enthalpy change of a chemical reaction. So Hess law often used to measure the enthalpy change, which cannot be measured directly. Instead, it's an alternative. Reactions are carried out to measure the experimental enthalpy change. And normally, like for endothermic reactions, it's difficult to find the enthalpy change as we don't know how much energy is needed to chemically change the substance. So when we are supplying heat energy, it will be difficult to know how much heat energy is supplied and when the chemical reaction is completely. So instead of directly measuring of enthalpy change of a chemical reaction, we can use this Hess law to work out the energy change. For example, we have anhydrous copper sulfate. So if we have anhydrous copper sulfate, it means we have CuSO4. What we want to find that how much energy change occur or what is the enthalpy change when we add water to copper sulfate. Like a water of crystallization is added. So CuSO4 plus H2O. This result in a formation of CuSO4 dot 5H4. So we want to find the enthalpy change of this reaction. Energy change, what is enthalpy change and energy change? It will be difficult to measure this enthalpy change directly because we don't know that how much or what moles or total number of moles of copper sulfate the water is added. So practically it will be difficult thing to know or measure the enthalpy change for this reaction. So what we can do if we want to find the enthalpy change, so we can use an indirect method. Like if copper sulfate, anhydrous copper sulfate, water is added to anhydrous copper sulfate, it releases minus 66 joule. So if we say this is what we have to find, but practically it is difficult to find. So what we are doing, for example, if we have copper sulfate crystals solid and we add them, we add excess of water and it turn into aqueous copper sulfate, like it dissolved completely, the enthalpy change for this reaction is example minus 66 kilojoule per mole. And if we have hydrated copper sulfate, hydrated both are solid, anhydrous and hydrated both are solid, but the only difference between them that hydrated salts contain water of crystallization or they trap some water molecule, but the state is still solid. Then we add excess of water, like we add too much water and dissolve. So when we dissolve, it will turn into copper sulfate aqueous. And the enthalpy change for this one is example 11 kilojoule per mole. So when anhydrous copper sulfate we dissolve in water or hydrated copper sulfate we dissolve in water, both will form a common product and both will form copper sulfate aqueous. So we want to find the enthalpy change here as this is a reaction. So what we do, if we add excess of water to this, like adding too much water until it dissolves. So here it was solid. This is also solid. So when we add too much water, as a result, what it will form copper sulfate aqueous. And the enthalpy change is minus 66. Or what we can do, we have the product. In this product, we can add excess of water, like adding too much water. So when we add too much water, that will also form aqueous copper sulfate, but the energy change is 11. And we want to find this enthalpy change when anhydrous copper sulfate converted into hydrated copper sulfate. So we have to identify the start of the cycle. So where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle, and where two arrows are pointing in, that is end of the cycle. And according to Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path. So if we follow path 1, route 1, like this is route 1, so the total energy of the route 1 will be equal to the total energy of route 2. So what is the energy of route 1? That is delta H. Or I can say minus 66. Like if I take this as route 1. So minus 66. What about energy of route 2? So route 2 is delta H plus 11, and this is route 1. So route 2 is delta H plus 11. It is plus 11, it will move to other side. So minus 66 minus 11. So the energy change for this reaction is minus 77 kilojoule per mole. Is it clear that how we work out the enthalpy change for this reaction? This is just an example. We'll discuss more related questions, but this is just an example. Is it clear the concept that how we can use to work out the energy change? Yes, so minus 77 kilojoule per mole is to form hydrated copper sulfate from anhydrous copper sulfate. If you have copper sulfate without water and copper sulfate with water, the enthalpy change or energy change is minus 77. Another reaction, like example, if you want to find say we have calcium carbonate. So we have calcium carbonate CaCO3. We want to find the energy change when calcium carbonate decomposed to calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. That is what we need, the enthalpy change. So what we can do here, if in the question it is given that when calcium carbonate reacted with HCl, 2 moles of HCl, it gives calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water, and the enthalpy change is say minus 90. And when calcium oxide react with HCl, it results in a formation of calcium chloride plus water, because metal oxide react with acid, so it gives salt and water. So the enthalpy change for this reaction is example minus 40. So these two reactions are given, and the question was calculate the enthalpy change for thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate. Like we are supplying heat energy, we are decomposing the calcium carbonate. Practically it is difficult to measure, because when endothermic reactions are there, we don't know how much energy is sufficient to carry out a chemical change. So practically endothermic reactions, it is difficult to measure the enthalpy change. So we use this Hess law. Now the two reactions are given, that calcium carbonate can react with HCl. So if calcium carbonate can react with HCl, so what it will give? It will give calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. So, and that energy, when calcium carbonate react with 2 moles of HCl, that energy was minus 90. So we can write this as minus 90. And when calcium oxide react with HCl, so or a product of calcium oxide and carbon dioxide react with HCl, so what it result? It result in a formation of calcium chloride. Carbon dioxide is already there, so we don't have, it is not formed, and water. So the energy change when calcium oxide react, that is minus 40. So this is minus 40. So we need energy change. So where the two arrows are pointing out, we call that as the start of the cycle, and where the two arrows are pointing in, that will be the end of the cycle. And overall energy change is independent of the route. Like if we follow route 1 or we follow route 2, the overall energy does not depend on the route or the path we follow. So if we follow, like example, this is route 1 and here is route 2. So delta H, we can say delta H minus 40, like delta H minus 40 is equals to minus 90. Or delta H is equals to minus 90 plus 40. So delta H is equals to minus 50. Is it clear that how we work out the Hess law to find the energy change of a chemical reaction? This is the second example that how it can be used to work out the enthalpy change. So how to solve the questions? If in the question using the Hess law to determine the enthalpy changes from from enthalpy change of formation. If in the question the formation is given, because there are different ways to solve these questions. So if in the question they provide you formation, enthalpy change of formation, and you need enthalpy of the reaction, so what you have to do, you have to add a link here. You have to add the link which is element. Like example, finding the enthalpy change of a reaction when enthalpy change of formations are given. So how to do these type of questions? Because there are different ways to solve these questions. So reactant will be there. The reactants are forming a product. So what you have to do? You have to add a link to equation which is element. So what we do? whenever in the question they ask and calculate the enthalpy change of a reaction like delta H we have to find, and the enthalpy change of formations are given. So what we have to do, we have to add a link, and what link we have to add? We have to add a link of element. Like here we will write elements. This we have to add. So, and what is the concept that what happened? Elements first form reactant, and the reactant form a product will be same as element directly form a product. So element form the reactant, reactant form a product is same as element directly form the product. So if I say this is enthalpy change A, this is delta H, and this is B. So what we can say that A plus delta H is equals to B, or delta H is equals to B minus A. This will give us the enthalpy change. I will give an example so you will understand this concept. Say the equation was that methane is burned in the presence of oxygen, and this result in a formation of carbon dioxide and water. The equation must be balanced. So this is a balanced equation. And the question was calculate the enthalpy change for this reaction. This is what you have to calculate. And the other parameters which are given, enthalpy change of formation of, so whenever formation is given, formation of methane was given, example 400, example. Enthalpy change of formation of carbon dioxide is given, say 200, and enthalpy change of formation. These are not the exact numbers. I'm just using the random values, just explain the idea. So this is 150. An enthalpy change of formation of oxygen is zero because element cannot be formed from the element. So when oxygen is there, the enthalpy change is zero. Now, whenever formations are given, what we have to do, we have to add the link by ourselves. Like in the question, they will not provide this link. You have to add a link. So what link I have to add? When element, reactant and products are given, the link which we have to add is element. So we have to add a link of element, and what are the elements here? The elements which we need: carbon, we need one carbon, we need two hydrogen, and we need two molecules of hydrogen because total four, and we need two molecules of oxygen. And what concept we are using? We are using if element form the reactant and reactant form a product is same as element directly form the product. Like carbon, hydrogen and oxygen combine, they can form methane and oxygen, or they can combine to form carbon dioxide and water. Both possibilities are there. So elements can form either reactant or a product. Now what are the enthalpy changes? When 1 mole of a methane is formed, that is 400. So this arrow is actually the enthalpy change of formation of methane, and nothing else is formed because for when element is formed, enthalpy change of formation of element is 0. Then what about the element form a product? So 1 mole of carbon dioxide is formed, that is 200. So this is enthalpy change of formation of carbon dioxide plus the enthalpy change of formation of water. But how many moles are there? 2 moles of water, so we'll multiply by 2. So when we apply the Hess law, where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle. So which is the start of the cycle? Reactant product or element? Which one is the start of the cycle? So element, because the two arrows are pointing out, so element is the start of the cycle. Which one is the end of the cycle? Where the two arrows are pointing in, that is called end of the cycle. So which one is the end here? So the product is the end of the cycle. And overall energy change is independent of the root 1. Like if I follow root 1 or root 2. So if I follow root 1, I can say enthalpy change of formation of methane plus the enthalpy change of a reaction is equals to enthalpy change of formation of carbon dioxide plus twice the enthalpy change of formation of water. Why twice? Because 2 moles of water are formed. That's why it is twice. Now we substitute the value. This is 400 delta H. For carbon dioxide, it's 200 plus 2 into, example, this was 50 for water. So 2 into 50. So delta H will be equal to 200. This is 400 plus delta H, 200 plus 100, 300, or 400 plus delta H is equal to 300, or delta H is 300 minus 400, that is equal to minus 100. So the enthalpy change for this reaction is minus 100 kilojoule per mole. Is this clear? The example that if formation is given, what we have to do? We have to add a link, that is element. So example, this is example 1. What is the enthalpy change for this reaction? So we need enthalpy change for this reaction, that aluminum oxide reacted with 3 atoms of magnesium gives 3 moles of magnesium oxide plus 2 moles of aluminum. And formations are given. Formation of magnesium oxide and aluminum oxide is given. So what we have to do? We have to add a link here. What link? Because formation is given, it means we have to add element. What are the elements here? There are 2 aluminum, 3 magnesium atoms, and how to get 3 oxygen? You can write 3 by 2 O2, or you can write 1.5 O2. So if elements form a reactant, reactant form the compound, a reactant or element form the reactant, reactant form the product, is same as element directly form the product. Here 1 mole of aluminum oxide is formed. So formation of aluminum oxide is minus 1675.7, because 1 mole of aluminum oxide is formed. And magnesium is a metal element, so there is no formation. It's 0 for. Here we get 3 moles of magnesium oxide. For 1 mole it is 601, so it will be 3 into 601.7. So overall energy change is independent of the route or the path we follow. So where two arrows are pointing out, that is a start, and two arrows are pointing in, that is end. So minus 1675.7 plus delta H is equals to 3 times into minus 601.7. So delta H is equals to 3 into minus 601.7, and this is minus, so it will be other side will be plus 1675.7. When we substitute the value, the enthalpy change will come out as minus 129.4 kilojoule per mole. So the enthalpy change for this reaction is minus 129.4 kilojoule per mole. So if the reaction is exothermic, we'll get a negative answer. Where the reaction is endothermic, we'll get a positive answer. Is it clear? The concept of enthalpy change, and if the formations are given, so always remember add a link which we call element. Any doubt till this point?